Hi guys, welcome back to this week's Sunday Empowerment Message. I am here. We are starting a new week. I'm here with another message of empowerment for you. You guys know I come and do this every week, just so we can have some kind of motivation to get through our weeks as efficiently as possible. So today I'm here to give you yet another message. As I state in every video, if you guys would like to get the full experience of these empowerment messages and not just based from my YouTube channel, you guys can visit us at Agape Restoration Ministry Center. We are located in Linwood, California, off of Carlin Avenue. We meet every Sunday at 10 a.m. So make sure if you guys are in the LA area, Compton, Linwood, wherever, come and visit us. We'd be more than happy to fellowship with you. So anyway, today I'm here. The past couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about overcoming the world, overcoming our obstacles, checking our attitudes, things of that nature. Now, what I'm going to talk about today goes along the lines of that, but it's strictly about money matters, stewardship. Now, this is a disclaimer. I am not here to tell anybody how to spend their money. I'm not here to babysit your finances. I'm just here to give you a lot of valuable information and tools that are in the Bible already that a lot of us don't really care to talk about. I know our finances are a touchy subject for most, but there are quite a bit of scriptures in the Bible that deal with handling finances, handling money, handling whatever it is that God entrusted to us. So with that being said, let's get started. So as you guys know, I have my notes here because it was a very, very good, a lot of meaty information in this word. So I think I'm going to start with talking about, Pastor Regina shared with us Luke 16 in the New King James Version, and this was about the parable of the unjust steward. And this is, like I said, a very lengthy story, so I highly encourage you guys to read Luke 16. But to sum it up, in the story, this is about an employer who found out about his manager who was embezzling a lot of his money. So when he found this out, he was basically going to terminate the manager, and then the manager had to kind of figure out what he was going to do to prepare for his future to be taken care of, because he was no longer going to be having a job. So in the story, the main point of this story, after everything, the manager was trying to make friends and get people on his side because he knew that he would need this assistance later. So what he was doing was befriending people who owed the rich man money and kind of making it as though he was settling their debts at a discount, if you want to call it that. Now, although he was making it into a way where the rich man wasn't getting his full payment back from these people, God commended this unjust steward. And it was trickery. He was scheming. He was doing all that kind of thing. But God wasn't praising him for that. What God was praising him was, and commending him for, was the fact that he was preparing for his future and what's to come. He was commending him for his foresight. Now, this guy knew that he was pretty much going to be on his own after he was terminated from his position. So he made the effort to secure his, as we say today, secure his bag. Secure his bag before that turmoil hit his life, so that these people who he befriended and helped in this season of his life would be there and willing to help him in the season where he needed help the most. So I think that with that story, it teaches us a valuable lesson about being good stewards with our finances and the things that God entrusts to us while we're here on earth. And you can even read it. Let me grab my notes really quick. In Ecclesiastes 10, verses 18 to 19. It says, because of laziness, the building decays, and through idleness of hands, the house leaks. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes merry, but money answers everything. So with that scripture, that goes into the meat of the message also, when she's talking about every decision that we make in our lives is based on our money matters. Everything that we do, we're thinking about money, whether it be where we're going to eat for that day, where we're going to buy our houses, where we're going to go to school, whatever the case is, we're always thinking about money. Everything boils down to money. So the importance of this message was not to talk to us about, like I said, how we need to spend our money, because you can't tell people how to spend their money, but it's very important that we are making the right decisions for our future. I had a really good point here. My pastor mentioned, this was years ago. This was actually a situation that she remembered happening with my grandmother. And my grandmother was working with, I don't know if he was a realtor or whatever he was, but he said something that stuck with my pastor. And that was the fact that people do not respect money. People don't respect money, and they pretty much make their money and they blow it. And I see that, we all see that happening around us a lot. We see it in our own selves. We do it often. But we have to, first of all, learn that, I know in the Bible, let me just talk about tithing for a minute, because I know a lot of people may not agree with this. A lot of people may not do this, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if you think about tithing for a second, tithing is pretty much a primary expression of our Christian discipline of stewardship. Now, it is an act of faith based on the divine principle that everything we have comes from God's hands. Now, when we tithe, we place God as our first priority, and we trust in his abundance instead of worrying about not having or operating in lack. Now, the sad part, it's just about the world that we live in now. The world is designed to keep us operating in lack, to keep us worrying about what we don't have enough of, to keep us worrying about how we're going to pay this or how we're going to take care of that. So because of that, a lot of people, when you talk about giving and tithing and offering, in the church, a lot of people don't, choose not to do that just because of the fact that they're afraid of giving up or holding on to what it is that they have because of what they may not have enough for later. And which is understandable. It takes all of us a certain, amount of time to get to that place where we're comfortable enough to give. But I think that when it comes to tithing, when we think that we can't give our 10% because of what the world is designed to keep our minds thinking, we have to learn to operate in a place of trust and just abundance. We can't sit here and be worried. We have to trust that God is going to supply all of our needs, whether no matter what we give. We have to know that God, by God's grace, all of our needs are going to be met no matter what. And I think that's the most important thing. And if we think in abundance, because that's really how we're going to gain our riches and prosperity through Christ. We have to think in abundance. We have to give freely and cheerfully, because based off of, I had a really good scripture. This is in Proverbs 11:24 through 25. One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. So, with that being said, I think it's important. The whole meat of this message was pretty much to encourage us to be good stewards of our money matters, to make sure that we're saving for our futures, that we're securing all of the necessities that we need on top of giving. What is it that if we are tithers, which I don't know, what you guys do with your money, but if you are a tither and you're able to give that 10%, or if you're able to give 1% or 2%, whatever the case is, what are you doing with that other percentage that God is entrusting you with? God is always looking and, waiting for us to make decisions, and he's evaluating us, and he's seeing what it is that we're doing with what it is that he's giving us. Are we blowing all of our money on material things? Are we saving for our futures? Are we preparing? Are we opening our hearts to give? And on top of that, being able to freely help somebody else. You know what I mean? It's not always just about giving to our churches. Are we able to help each other? Are we so stuck on worshiping our money that we're not even open to help another person that we see in need? That kind of thing. So this was more so of, it wasn't a message about tithing. It wasn't a message about, giving and that sort of thing per se. It was more of a stewardship message. This message was to encourage us to stay connected to what it is that God requires us to do with our finances. What God requires us to be good stewards over what he's given us. He wants us to remain faithful in the season in between the sowing and the reaping. We in the season, it's not just about giving and just giving everything away. There's also, and the Bible talks about this, there is a season of sowing, and then there's a season of reaping. Now you're going to sow your seeds, and you best believe God is going to make sure you have a season of harvest. And I mean huge harvest, because I've experienced it myself. But it's always that season in between the sowing and the reaping, where the devil really wants us to worry. He wants us to shake our faith. He wants us to sit up here and be stressed out about how we're going to do this and that. And that's when God is really, really looking at us like, okay, now you done sowed your seed. Now let me bless you. It's really up to us to, remain faithful in that season in between the sowing and the reaping. So that was pretty. I know there was a ton of good scriptures. Now you guys know this is a Sunday Empowerment Message through YouTube. I can't give y'all all of the good details through here. You guys would have to come to church for that. But I hope that, in going through this message of Money Matters, that it just encourages you to be more aware of what it is that you're doing with your money. I think that a good scripture to leave you with probably would be Matthew 6:19-21. Because like I said, Pastor Regina provided us with a lot of scriptures and things pertaining to money matters. But I think that in Matthew 6:21, it says that, well, before I get into that, like I was talking about tithing earlier, and the main principle behind tithing and giving is the fact that what we do with our money shows where our heart is. Now, in Matthew 6:21, it says, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So if you have a heart full of, giving and open to give and always wanting to just spend your money justly, then God is always looking at that. And it's showing God that we are not so tied to the power of money. We're more tied to the power of his abundance and his prosperity and what he can do in our life, in our finances, So that was pretty much it. I hope I covered everything. I feel like I was talking really fast. And I know I was looking at my notes, but like I said, I always have such a lot of valuable information that I try to give you guys all in one sitting. So if you don't get it, that's okay. Just come to church and you can get all the information you need. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that helped you. I hope that will inspire you throughout the week to pay closer attention to your finances, to be good stewards of your finances, to just make God proud and want to keep blessing you. Because it says if you keep sowing seed, God is going to keep giving you seed to sow. I believe that wholeheartedly. I've experienced that in my life and in my family's lives. So I just want to encourage y'all with that message. So I hope it helped you. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you in next week's empowerment message. Make sure you guys be blessed and that you are being a blessing to others. Take care. Bye-bye.